Well, guys, I apologize for my disheveled look, but I wanted to share something with you that's really special to me. I'm in a special place, and I apologize for my disheveled look. I've been outside working on food plots all day at a piece of land that I'm the third generation owner of. I didn't have to buy it. I only pay the taxes on it. It was passed from my grandfather to my father, and now it's mine. And this driveway right here leads to my grandfather's family farm. It was his father's, and he took it over, and as a young man when he was married, and went into debt and lost this house in the Great Depression. And my grandfather and grandmother, with 2 suitcases and my Aunt Mariana as a baby in tow, walked down this driveway, and they walked down this road into town and took a bus to Milwaukee to find work. And my grandfather did find work. He worked at Borden's, and he did a lot of construction. He was a farmhand. He did whatever he could to make and save money. I apologize for the airplane. So it'll pass in a minute, but my grandfather would do anything for money that was legal and moral. He hunted raccoons for their pelts and foxes for their pelts and sold them at the furrier to pay for Christmas for his 8 children that he had. And he always had a milk cow or 2, and he always had horses. He understood the value of assets. He came through it. He got through the Depression. He moved back up here and bought a house not a mile from his old family farm, and gave that house to his daughter with 80 acres of land, and he kept 5 acres to build his house on. And my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and my aunt at the time was an RN, and so she moved next door to take care of her grandmother, so she never had to go into a nursing home, and she died in her home. So why is this important? Now you need to know that my grandfather got through everything, right? He got through it. Not only that, my grandfather bought another 40 acres from a foreclosure auction that was also in our family. It wasn't even a foreclosure auction. He went to the courthouse and paid the back taxes and got the land, 40 acres, for $340. And that's my hunting land now. My grandfather bought it, passed it on to my father, and my father passed it on to me. And so he came through it, but he came through it because he made wise decisions and he saw the value in assets. My grandfather always bought houses, always bought land, and he always bought cattle and horses. So he recognized the importance of assets. Listen, my grandparents, their experience living through the Depression radically changed their worldview for their entire lives. I remember from a very, very young age that my grandmother, when she took a stick of butter off the wax paper, would scrape every bit of butter off of it. Whenever we deer hunt, and my grandfather got every ounce of meat off of every bone of a deer carcass. Not a thing went to waste. And we live in a very wasteful generation that doesn't save. We don't save. We go too far into debt. We buy things we don't need. We live in houses we really can't afford. We drive cars that, are way above our pay scale. And now is the time to look to the past and learn. Many people, I'm Gen X, my dad and mama, they're boomers, and, my grandpa lived through the Depression. He was too young for World War I and too old for World War II. So was never a veteran, but nonetheless, learn the lessons of history. I try to get into my grandfather's frame of mind, and what he must have been going through walking away from his house. I had a house foreclosed on in 2017, and the anxiety of trying to find a place to rent now with that on our history. You know, we lived in the house for almost 18 years, and I think about what my grandfather must have thought, and what he was going through. He was penniless. The farm was his life. He didn't have another job, you know, so when he lost the farm, he lost everything. I lost my home. I still had a job. I still had income. And I learned that was my never again moment. We had 2 car payments. We lived in a house we couldn't afford. We got too far into debt. We put the house, we kept deferring payments because we couldn't afford the mortgage. And at some point, the bank just called the note and said, nope, you got to pay up. We couldn't do it. That was my never again moment. No more debt. Save like crazy. Invest wisely. You know, don't speculate. Invest. And stack gold and silver. Stack gold and silver. It's your physical savings account. So I just wanted to share this place with you guys and just encourage you to share these lessons of the past with others, because we have that normalcy bias. This could never happen to me. This could never happen to me. Well, you think that until it does. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.